Welcome back to another episode of In Depth with Academia. I'm Richard Price, the CEO of academia.edu, and as always, I'm here to bring you fascinating new academic work that challenges assumptions, digs below the surface, and maybe, just maybe, shakes up what you thought you knew. So let's get right into it. Today we're taking a look at a paper by Hadrian Stone, and the title is, ready for this, The Machiavellian Turn in Marketing Strategy, an academic review of the 23 laws of marketing right. So, what's actually at stake here? Well, the core question in this paper is whether traditional marketing rules, those big laws handed down by thinkers like Ries and Trout, still hold water in the digital age, or whether marketing has turned into something darker and more, Machiavellian, like is today's marketing more about manipulation, perception management, and even power plays, rather than just following some timeless strategies? Why does this matter? Well, look, if you're a consumer, a marketer, an entrepreneur, or just someone trying to understand the ads and messages flooding your feed every day, this stuff is essential. Are we all just obeying marketing's old commandments, or are there new rules in play, rules that honestly sound a bit like something out of Game of Thrones, but with more hashtags? So, let's break down what Hadrian Stone actually does in this paper. And just to be clear, I'm not endorsing or criticizing the arguments here. I'm sharing them so you can reflect, question, and maybe have an opinion of your own. Academic research isn't about gospel truth. It's about opening up new ways of seeing first. A little background. Classic marketing thinkers like Ries and Trout had this idea of immutable laws, like unchanging truths about how to succeed in marketing. For example, there's the law of leadership, being first in a category, or the law of perception, which says that marketing isn't a battle of products, but a battle of perceptions. These were sort of like the 10 commandments for late 20th century marketing, back when billboards reigned supreme and, I don't know, you only had to worry about your TV spot beating out one or two competitors. But things changed, social media came in, consumer behavior fragmented, algorithmic feeds started to dictate what you see, and suddenly the old certainties felt a bit shaky. Enter Hadrian Stone and his book, The 23 Laws of Marketing, Master Them or Die. Sounds dramatic, huh? In this academic review, Stone's work is framed as a new turn, a Machiavellian turn to be exact. He's not just adding one more law, he's changing the whole logic of the game. Instead of obeying universal rules, marketers are encouraged to see laws as levers of power. It isn't about what you must do, it's about what you could do to win. So how does Stone's approach actually work? The paper analyzes Stone's new 23 laws and finds a few key themes. One is perception management. Stone's law 2 is control, perception, or perish. This is way more aggressive than Ries and Trout's passive sense of perception. Here, you're not just thinking about how people see your brand. You're actively engineering those perceptions, sometimes even fabricating illusions. There's also Law 7, create enemies to forge loyalty. This idea that making a rival, even if it's kind of artificial, can unite your fans and create stronger engagement. Honestly, it's kind of wild to think about intentionally creating conflict so people are more loyal. And then Law 10, sell status, not products, which reflects today's digital world where what you buy is often more about what it says about you rather than actual utility. Just scroll through Instagram once, you get what he means, right? The paper compares Stone's ideas to the old school frameworks and finds that, while both acknowledge the power of perception, Stone is a lot more explicit about using manipulation and psychological tactics. It's not just about being first or best anymore, it's about shaping reality itself, controlling narratives, even turning competitors into useful foils. The method here? Well, it's mostly comparative text analysis. So Stone's 23 laws are lined up against the canonical, immutable ones, and the differences are teased apart. Also, the review treats these marketing texts as cultural artifacts, not just handbooks, but reflections of how our economy and society are changing. If you feel like marketing is more cutthroat, more psychological, more personal almost, well, The research says you're not imagining things. One tangent, actually. Sometimes I wonder, who came up with the first law of marketing anyway? Like, did some medieval merchant say, "Thou shalt always offer 3 loaves for a coin, unless your neighbour says otherwise"? Maybe history is just one marketing scheme after another. All right, all of this, again, is presented for your evaluation, not mine. This paper doesn't claim Stone's approach is absolutely correct or the final word. Instead, it's asking, is marketing best seen as a contest of persuasion or a battle of power, perception and conflict? For you, the listener, if you're in business or just an observer of social trends, this means the strategies behind the stuff you see online are more fluid and more flexible and maybe a bit more ruthless than ever before. So, to wrap it all up, Stone's Machiavellian marketing doesn't throw out the old rules, but reframes them. Perception, rivalry, status, they're not just outcomes, they're tools. This doesn't mean you should instantly adopt Machiavellian marketing. It means instead to stay aware and critical. Academic work is about considering new ideas, reflecting, and then debating, improving, sometimes discarding. Marketing, like all disciplines, is always evolving, and sometimes the most important law is to keep asking questions. Thanks so much for joining me on In Depth with Academia. I hope you'll keep exploring, questioning, and staying curious. See you next time.